Hello, my name is Max and welcome to Tabletop Reviews in the Lord of the Rings month of December. Today I'm having a look at Lord of the Rings, the Duel. Not the new one, Duel from Middle-earth, no, this one is the Duel, came out in 2001, I want to say, and not 2024. This is Gandalf versus the Balrog fighting on the bridge of Khazad-dûm. With some amazing components and stuff in here. Let's have a look at the setup and how the gameplay works. That was a bad transition. Alright, Lord of the Rings, the Duel. Let's just get to the side. So, we have this cool little board here. If I can flip it open. Which you can place the bridge of Khazad-dûm on. So mine is a little unstable here, it is an older game. Alright, then you have your Gandalf and Balrog little miniatures here, very cool. Place Gandalf with the Fellowship and the Balrog with the Goblins. Then you have a cube in each color, which you will place on the grey plus. There's a red plus over here, that will not be used yet. Put down here. And last one you're going to need is, of course, the cards. You have Gandalf's card here, this background, and the Balrog's cards. So you will shuffle these up, and you will draw 9. Just put this up here. So these 9 cards have a sort of a attacking side and a more defensive side, and all of them vary around. And have I drawn up? Why is it blinking? Okay. There's a magic cards here that have a text that say how it is supposed to be used, right? Let's just grab up 9 Balrog cards here. 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9. Just to showcase how the Balrog cards look. And did I drop a... I did not drop a magic card, so just look for a magic card. Here it is. A magic card from the Balrog. There's of course a more lengthy description in the rulebook. So the starting player, who it's one of them, that's the kind of thing I'm going to forget. Gandalf begins. So you pick out a card, and now it's important with these sides over here. And I'm just... which one are we going to grab? This one's a good start. Let's say you start off with this card right here. Now the Balrog, of course, it's choosing something over here to attack and this side to defend. So what are we going to do? So this one matches up completely. Let's just say you play this one. You don't want to use all your strong cards because you're only going to play 3 cards in the first duels, and then 3 of the cards are going to go to the final duel. But basically, let's just take this card here because it does some damage. So now you'll check, sort of side by side view, and see. So here is nothing happens. Here it's 1 and 1 and 1 and 1, so nothing happens. But here the Balrog scores a hit and Gandalf's moves down. If you ever reach minus, you lose the duel, so to speak. And you kind of continue doing this back and forth. Now of course Gandalf would then have to get back up him. I don't know, this one maybe. Each scores a hit. It's kind of going back and forth like that, thinking about the fact that you need to say 3 from every single duel for the final duel. Now at the end, you will move somewhat up on this, depending on how much you have a lead. So this one is a lead less than 1, like it's 1, right? To the Balrog. So the Balrog would move up 1. And if there was a greater distance, the Balrog would move up 2 or even 3 steps. And if you ever reach the peak, you basically... Okay, so they can bounce on the peak of this one. Can I get it to stand on the peak? Ooh, ooh. As I say, it's an older game. It's not super stable. Yes. For the final duel, let's just take that one. You start up here, and you have the 9 cards. I'm just going to use the same 9 cards. But you have those 9 cards that you put aside that you will use in the final duel. And for every duel, whoever won the last duel decides who starts the next duel. But in the final duel, you will sort of use those 9 cards that you had left over to fight it out. And whoever is highest on the bridge of Khazad-dûm is the winner. And there you go, that is the gameplay and the setup here. Let's talk about it. So the setup is lovely and simple. I love the fact that in the box you can have the bridge assembled. You don't have to assemble every time. It can be assembled and just bring it out. Awesome. Lovely juggling. And other than that, it's just separate the cards and put the figures to correct spots. Very good, cool, very good, quick setup. And the gameplay. Man, I really like the gameplay of this one. Because it makes so much sense. So, this with the cards, where you have some that are very weak and some that are very strong. Some have a weak side, some have a strong side. It makes so much sense, right? You are doing an attack, and maybe you want a weaker attack so that you have a stronger defense, or you are putting in a strong attack to have a weaker defense or something. It makes so much sense, this back and forth between Gandalf and the Balrog. We know it from the movies, we know it from the books. It is a really cool moment where we see Gandalf's power shine through against this incredible foe. And in this one you get to go through it and have this this very tight back and forth, trying to preserve energy, trying to also remember, I need to do a fourth duel. Of course in the game we know this. You have 3 main duels and you have the final duel. This preserving of energy and putting the strongest cards in the final duel maybe, but you will lose the first duel and that will cost you expensively. Very awesome back and forth in the gameplay there. What I do wish about the duels is, after the first 3 duels, the game could be over. If you've just completely pummeled your opponent, which probably isn't going to happen, the game could be over before the final duel. The final duel is essentially just a regular duel with 3 more cards from each player. So there is something lacking there, right? I think. I love the balancing act of the winner of the duel gets to choose who starts. That's a very interesting thing. And also sort of the thing you can see in battle as, you know, maybe I did push you a little bit back on the bridge and advanced, but now do I want to still attack, or do I want to stand back and have you get at me? It makes sense in terms of a duel. I really like the theme is going to shine through in this one. It's finally the theme that's shining through here. Lovely back and forth. Let's talk about the components. So you have the bridge, which is fine. It is an older game. It's 2001 or 2002. I can't remember which year exactly. And the bridge that I have, unfortunately, some of the top steps are quite fragile and fall off. I imagine when it first came out, it was like the bottom steps that I have, quite strong, and it stood there sturdy. Such an amazing piece to have for just a 2-player game. Having this bridge here, so amazing. And then you have the 2 little figures. They're just little wooden figures, but you immediately know who's who. Both because of the color, but also because of the shape. You have Frangel, you have Gandalf, smaller, with this pointy hat, grey, ready there, and you have the massive Balrog with its horns, and ooh, awesome components there. You have the little cubes that are dragging down again, lovely. Color match, very important, it is here. You don't always experience that. Even in a very new game I have Spectacular, there is a color mix match. Here, the color matches. And of course you have the cards of Gandalf and the Balrog. Really awesome. I think they have the same cards except for the magic cards, which are of course special for them. The illustrations on them are lovely. Very much representative of what the card does. Is this a very offensive card? I'm full of energy. Or is it a weak card? Oh, I'm beaten. Super awesome. Bringing out different sides of Gandalf and the Balrog with these amazing illustrations that are on them. Really, really looking cool. Amazing artwork on this one by John Howe, I can see. I believe he worked on the movies with the movies guys as well on artwork for that one. Awesome illustrator in the Lord of the Rings world. Did he do the Search as well? Yes, he did. Previous video on Lord of the Rings, the Search. He did that illustration as well. Such an awesome illustration, especially within the world of Lord of the Rings. Amazing artwork for this one. I also love on the the board. Why do I say play? Board. Now you have where the bridge stands, you have the Fellowship, and you have the Orcs. Very clearly illustrated. You know where you're going to start if you know anything about these movies or the books because of that. So awesome illustration, awesome components, really great. The theme, I already told you, it shines through in this one. It is a duel, it is back and forth. You are trying to preserve your energy for that final duel, but you still want to push in on all the other duels. And in the end it is about advancing on the bridge of Khazad-dûm Gandalf sort of wants to hold the Balrog back and Balrog wants to advance, but in this one they both want to advance. So a little bit of a loss of theme there, of course, when looking at it. But in the end it makes so much sense, this back and forth, this amazing duel. So theme really shines through here. I think it could probably work even if it was not Gandalf and the Balrog, but having that theme and having those illustrations just make this an amazing package to play. And it's a 2-player game, it's just for 2. Let's talk about that here in Does It Lie to You, my little segment here. It's for 2 players, ages 10 and up, 30 to 40 minutes. Again, it's a 2-player game. That you put so much work into a 2-player game, I think is amazing. Such great components for this one. Ages 10 and up. Again, yeah, I think because in the end, in this one, all you have to really think about is the amount of colored that you have, how many you have colored in, because that's how obviously you lose energy or whatever. There's this thing about the final duel where you have to think about putting cards into the final duel. Like, for example, I didn't do that once in the first duel, and then I ended up having a super weak card, like the card with nothing on it in the final duel. Terrible card to have in the final duel. So there's something about that where you need to be capable of thinking about that. Probably increases the age a little bit. And then you have this 30 to 40 minutes. Again, yeah, probably going to be about 30 minutes. I mean, in the end, you're just playing the cards, trying to match them. Sometimes it can be a choice, but it is going to go fairly quickly. So it's again another about half an hour Lord of the Rings game. This time with an amazing theme. What is my score going to be? I'm going to give this one an 8 out of 10. It is higher than the other Lord of the Rings games that were all 7. This one bumps up. Again, I love the gameplay. Love the illustrations, love the theme really shining through here. Why is it not a 10 then? So first of all, it's about wanting to play the game, and I think this one is not going to get to the table as much because of other Lord of the Rings games, especially duel games, that I'll probably talk about later on in this month here. So that has something to do with it, and also because of the things of like the game could be over before the final duel. The way that you sort of score at the end of the duels is an annoying thing. So there are a few annoyances in it that are going to keep it down, and also just because I don't think it's going to be played as much as other games that I have from Lord of the Rings. But I really do love it. Don't get me wrong, 8 out of 10 is still a very, very high score. There's just a few reasons that it isn't a 10 or a 9. It is an 8, and it's a lovely game. So am I keeping it? Definitely. I mean, definitely keeping this one. Really want to play it some more. Thank you very much, Martin, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!